John Wick 3. This is how we're going to handle spoilers, okay?
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock at night, by the way,
If
guys.
you haven't, it's late. We just
saw the
watching
movie.
it.
We're tired, but we're back, and we're going to do it again.
If you haven't seen John Wick 1 and 2, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, we
firstly?
hadn't seen it until literally the weekend because we got some advanced screen tickets, and they're like, have you seen John Wick 1 and 2? And we're like, yeah.
Absolutely, we have.
Love them.
So if you haven't seen it, go and watch it right now. Don't watch this video because we have to spoil John Wick 1 and 2 in order to talk about 3, okay?
And on top of that, we're going to do a non-spoiler part, maybe 3 to 4 minutes. We'll let you know very clearly.
I'll talk about number 3, by the way.
Yes.
Non-spoiler review of part 3 will be the first half of this video, and then
we're going to do all the spoilers, people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the bad news is that we didn't really like this, and it really breaks our heart. Let's just drop first.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So let's just start with. We didn't walk in here thinking, oh, I can't wait to hate this movie. We were so excited.
So excited.
I was like, 1 and 2 was so fucking good. I couldn't wait for this movie.
The scene in 1 with the sledgehammer, when he's breaking the fucking rock.
Yeah, 40 minutes of hype that whole movie.
It's just
incredible.
Building a character like John Wick with the way that people speak about him, you know, like his presence, his capability, like just as a character, the way they built him was masterful.
It was like
few
Neo.
games have ever done that. Few movies have ever done it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like Neo, and he's already the one, okay? So picking up from then. It was incredible. Number 2 also delivered in terms of story, combat, flow, pace. Everything was just so bang on.
And I think what I loved about 1 and 2 was the world building was so, like, it was so light on in the sense that it didn't, like, have tons of exposition and all this shit. It just had some very central pillars and rituals and terminologies. And from those, you got the clearest sense of what this world was and how it worked, you know? And it was just this, it was so attractive. Like, you wanted to be a fucking assassin and you wanted to stay at the Continental. You wanted to have these gold coins in your pocket and you wanted to be that shit.
Ralph has one already, but it's green. What the hell is this, guys? Jesus Christ.
It's the Gambit thing. All right. Anyway, so that was part 1 and part 2. Absolutely brilliant films. As I said, if you haven't watched them, go and watch them. Part 3 sets up where John Wick has now been sort of excommunicated from the Order, from the Continental...
From the Hitman Order.
Order, Hit Person, Sam.
Sorry, of course. Please. Assuming genders. Oops.
So, Hit Person Order, he's out of it. Basically, the entirety of New York City, and the world, in fact, has a $14 million contract on his head. Mm-hmm. He needs to somehow figure out a way to survive and restore his name / sanity / stay alive, whatever.
So that's how we are. Now we go into number 3, okay? It just kicks off straight away, same moment, it just continues. And let me tell you, the first 20, 30, 40 minutes are so fucking solid. We had the whole audience fucking cheering.
Within the first 5 minutes.
He was doing X-ray moves to people and shit. Like, the combat was so fantastic, especially in those first 40 minutes.
And can I say, in Australia, people don't cheer in movies.
Never.
That's not a thing.
We don't
I know
clap.
you Americans do that.
Yeah.
That's weird, okay? We don't do that here, but they did it in, like, John Wick.
We don't clap also when we land in planes, okay? We do not do that. And
Something
if we
wrong.
see that, we punch them in the head,
That's
okay?
right.
No, but, like, after that, it just got more and more, just a bit like, whoa, this is such a departure from the previous John Wicks, and also a departure from the beginning of the film in terms of quality, pacing, understanding of what the direction was. The film completely broke down after the first act. And I really think that actually starts with, we'll start with what I think happened is the villains themselves. You don't know who the fuck is the villain. Like, you do, but you never see their face. You just have their cronies and their goons going after them and some, like, mini-bosses.
Yeah, John Wick 1 had, the Russians. John Wick 2 clearly had, like, the Italians. There were central people within that story he needed to kill. It just doesn't have the same thing here. You're fighting these sort of invisible boogeymen and everyone's talking about stuff, but there's no one you can really look in the eye and say, that is the bad guy. And it really lacks a lot of impact because of that.
There's definitely more of a Chinese or like a Japanese feel to this one.
Japanese.
It could have been either one. What are you talking about? It could be either one.
Speaking Japanese.
Whatever. Okay. All right. Texas Sam racist rap back at it again.
That's right.
No, but I think that it was very lost in that regard because John Wick had a central core journey that he was going on, and whoever that person was, that was the end of that journey. It didn't have that, so the whole thing just felt like, whoa.
And I would say it really it goes in some like, because John Wick's very much been about the world and the order and the rituals. It goes off in a bit of a mystical direction that doesn't land in this film either. Like it really doesn't. And I won't spoil too much of it, but I will just say,
let's just say he goes to the quickie marts, the high order quickie mart.
He drinks the Slurpee with nothing but syrup.
You know the one where Apu has to go and get his job back.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Oh my god.
So look, it really breaks down a lot because of that sort of meandering.
Yeah.
And then I know it's going to sound dumb. John Wick 1 and 2 had a lot of action, but it was perfectly paced with the story, the exposition, the one-liners. It was just a great balance. This one, it just felt like too much action. I know how dumb that sounds. I know you think, well, I go into a John Wick film for action. I know you do.
Yeah.
But you also go into it for all the cool John Wick shit that doesn't quite exist in the same way here, because you just constantly endless killing, and it's not broken up well. The pacing is just off.
Yeah, it gets really tedious after a while. You could hear that with the audience too.
Yes, definitely.
First 40 minutes, everyone's fucking cheering because, as I said, he's getting some cool X-ray moves, and then the next, this next part of the movie, everyone's silent because everyone is fatigued because it's just too much of the same thing. Great. And then it's broken up with some really meaningless moments that don't really mean anything.
And break the tone as well. Like, there's some moments that really shatter the immersion of the experience.
Yeah, so maybe we should wrap up the non-spoiler bit here in terms of, I thought if you're a John Wick fan and you missed this movie, then it's kind of good because number 1 and 2 will allow you to live on forever with the idea of John Wick. Just like Michael Corleone in Godfather 1 and 2, you can live on forever with that idea if you didn't see Godfather 3.
I would say, if you're a John Wick fan, you're going to see this film anyway. Sure. So don't worry, whatever. If you are not a fan of John Wick 1 and 2, you are absolutely going to hate this. Like, if you've watched those films, you didn't like them.
Well, we think you are.
No, you can't dislike 1 and 2 and then like this one better. I can't.
Sorry, I thought you meant if you like 1 and 2, like if you're a diehard fan, you're definitely going to hate this one.
No. But yeah, if you like 1 and 2, you might enjoy this, but also you might not. It's 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which I don't understand.
I do not understand. Having seen this, I do not understand how it got that score. I would personally rate this a 7 out of 10.
7 thumbs up.
It has some fantastic action moments.
It's actually, you know what? It's 7 out of 10. Too much John Wick. There is too much just John Wick badass punching and shit. That's legitimately what's going on here.
It sounds dumb, but wait till you see it. Let us know what you think of yourself. What we're going to do now is we're going to stop. This is the end of the non-spoiler zone.
Yeah.
In 10 seconds, we're going into spoilers. So this is your warning. Turn it off now. If you're in the other room, come in. Shut it off quickly. Spoilers are incoming. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, so I just can't believe that Thanos.
I wish I could Thanos Sam. Okay, so I think first of all we need to talk about the villain aspect, and I think it really is just one of the Achilles heel of the thing.
Sure.
The main antagonist is that, can I speak to your manager, woman? She's so annoying. She's she represents the high table or whatever. And I feel like we feel like we're getting to the pointy end of the business here in number 3. But she feels like a mini-boss gateway into the sequel setup, which obviously there is a sequel setup at the end of this film. So she is so unsatisfying to see in every scene because you're not seeing some villain that John Wick is going to put a bullet in.
Sure.
You're just seeing this person
that's the messenger.
Excuse me, I think you know what you did wrong and I want you to apologize.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? She's annoying.
She was not only annoying, but she was also just it was very uneventful. Very uneventful. Every time she was in a scene, I just felt like I wanted some more things to happen.
Totally.
And, you're right. In the third John Wick, you are expecting this to kind of wrap up. Yes. I was expecting that, and it felt like 1 and 2 were so good, it deserved a strong ending. And for them now to, set up a fourth one, for no one, for her not to die, for so many, so many characters also to, at the last minute, kind of do disappointing things. Like the main Asian villain that was really good with his he was the main guy that could really take on John Wick. Halfway through the movie, and he's also a mini boss, he completely changes his tune towards Wick and tells him he's a big fan of him and shit. And then he gets stabbed at the end, and then he's doing this comedic routine, I just need to get my
that was
breath.
A good fight.
It's freaking Charlie Chaplin shit. It was just stupid and
yeah.
And there's also moments where other fights are happening before this mini boss Asian dude, and then they're like having a joke with John Wick and saying they're also like
Big fans.
It's just
It became fan service.
Yeah, and it
was-
actually trivialized the seriousness of John Wick in terms of you expect every moment his life is on the line, and
Yes.
those moments you're like, they're kind of
not
like
really on the
sparring. You know? It was like,
is-
this is the end of the movie too. This is towards the end.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like it felt like all the stakes evaporated at that point. You're like, well,
Definitely.
we know obviously he's going to win, which you always know in a John Wick film. He's gonna,
Sure.
but actually no, because
don't know,
I
actually.
actually walked into this hearing a rumor that this was the conclusion of the saga.
This
right,
was gonna be
That's
Logan.
it. And I thought, all right, cool, I'm going to see something big go down. But when I saw them all joking around and shit, I'm like, oh come on, man, this is disappointing.
Yeah,
so
and-
look, on the villain front, it really did not deliver.
Yeah.
Then there's the whole like going to fucking Casablanca,
Oh my God.
wandering the dead.
looking
Who
for the-
thought this
yeah.
was a good idea?
Looking for the Cave of Wonders or some shit.
Oh my god!
You know, it was fucking ridiculous.
I think a lot of the appeal of John Wick is obviously like there's this order. It's sacred. It's old. It's got all these rules. There's an air of mysticism to it, but it's like it's very subtle.
No,
and
but-
this one went full mysticism, where
Yeah,
it's like
look-
walk to the sun, and on the last day when you're about to die. No,
Yeah,
you
look.
know?
Also, it's also encapsulated in like a mafioso style
Yeah.
kind of hitman, like gangster
Cosa Nostra,
style,
like Yakuza.
Yeah, that kind of it's contained in that world. When you make John Wick start walking through the desert until he has to fall over, and then he's found by some mystical prince or some shit. It just completely cooks the whole concept.
And who was that guy? Like, there's this high table.
idea.
There's this high table that exists in New York or wherever else, and there's this structure of like crime overlords. And then this one dude just in the desert, just drinking tea, and he
It's
apparently
very
is the biggest
strange.
deal. Like, and then and then he cut off his finger.
Yeah, it's
and like,
ridiculous.
the ending as well, I was really pissed off with, because Winston, the head of the Continental, just did the whole like 180. Oh, by the way, guys, betrayal.
Yeah.
Oh, I just didn't see that one coming. Like, it was so lazy.
Yeah, we walked out and I was actually really talking, we were chatting about it, and like Winston is very central to John Wick's journey, because he was not only his friend, he was also he was like his confidant,
Yeah.
like he also, broke the rules a bit for John. He was his friend, and he did a lot of stuff to push the story forward in a way that they were actually companions, for him to at the last moment just fickly change his mind against
Yeah.
all this history that he's had with John and just try and shoot him and kill him just so he could keep the Continental. It went against the whole fight that he
Yeah.
was supposed to be having with Winston.
And I feel like had that happened at the end of movie 2, I'd be like, all right, cool, you're setting up for the finale. I get it.
Yes.
But he already had the thing where he sent him excommunicado at the end of 2, and now he shot him in 3. It's like, dude, how long is this going to go on for?
Yeah.
Like, it really needed to wrap up definitively, and it didn't do that. And it's set up for a sequel that I don't personally want to see now, because, as I said, I found this film so disappointing that I'm way less invested in it now. I'm way less invested.
I think that, pacing is important, and like it's important also to know when to hang the boots up. And we're chatting about this car, right? It's a little side story. Hugh Jackman apparently was talking with Jerry Seinfeld, and he asked Jerry, "Hey, why did you stop season 9? Why did you stop at season 9 of Seinfeld?" Jerry said, "You've got to let it go when there's a little bit of life left in it, so people remember that there's a little bit of life left, and it doesn't just people don't remember that it was completely dead." John Wick now feels like the next one is just going to be completely dead, and that's sadly how it might be remembered, everybody.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't really want to see this, but I'll see it, I guess. But my idea of John Wick has forever changed now. It's not the same cool thing, because it had an expiry date, and it's now getting a bit foul.
I really wanted to see, and this is like wish listing, which I don't like doing when talking about things in general, but like, I really wanted to see John have to go up against the Continental and the rule structure and the high table and bring it down. Like, I would love to see him say, all right, well, the only way that I can stop all of this is to destroy all of the rules that are keeping this in motion.
Very Taken-like.
But more like, it's very deeply connected then to that world and all the world building and all the foundations of it. This feels like all the rules are still intact. Everything is status quo. John is still out there, like he has to die at the hands of the Continental, at the hands of the High Table.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed as a result of this film. It's the same.
I think I really wanted to see John Wick go on a redemption story, and I think that could have been the way the redemption story takes place. He's able to cleanse his own history and cleanse his own what he's done by taking down the very thing that made him what he is.
And
that didn't happen.
And also, when he decided to go back in, he had to make that choice. Should I go back in or should I not? And it's like, John Wick wouldn't have done that. Like, John Wick would have been like, all right, I realize now that I'm done. I can't go back to that life. I must die. And like he had to give up his life at that point to be with his wife in the afterlife or whatever.
Yeah.
But instead he's like, yeah, man, let's go keep on killing so I can remember my wife as I kill people. It's
more
like,
than that,
that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was a really weak reason, and it was also really disappointing because that was not John Wick in terms of he was going to betray Winston to keep living. Like,
and then he
the
had
whole
that
thing was just cooked.
So,
and then he had another moment where he was about to kill Winston and he didn't. But the bottom line is when he cut his finger off, he was signing Winston's death warrant so he could live. It was a shitty, unheroic thing to really see John Wick do. So guys, all in all, there's so many things in this that just. Last thing I'll say quickly is the fighting just by the end of it, the fighting was not even as good as at the beginning, really. It wasn't as good. So look, guys, there's so many aspects of this where I just feel like it was let down. If you go in there just for the fighting, I think you're also going to get let down. If you go in there for a story, it just becomes a giant meme at the end of it. Walk in just thinking, cool, it's not 98.
Sorry, we're so negative. It is 98 on Rotten Tomatoes. We don't like being negative about stuff unless it's Bethesda.
And EA.
And EA. Activision.
Yeah, anything really that'll get us
But
those
John Wick, though, we love. And it honestly makes me sad that we were not more. So, but look, you guys watch it. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Don't spoil anything for people, by the way, if they haven't seen it.
No Game of Thrones. Oh, Game of Thrones spoiler. It's fine now.
No, don't spoil Game of Thrones.
Okay,
don't be a
don't
dick.
do that. No,
That's the end of the episode.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.